I don't know if you can see Chris was doing the finger thing in the garage.
Chris was not doing the finger thing in the garage.
That sounds so bad.
The finger thing?
What a great way to start this episode. That's fantastic.
Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball finger culture.
Oh, gosh.
Doesn't matter what kind of Lemma Champ or Lucky Track Dog League you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate, as long as you drive it hard and build it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of low-dollar endurance racing. And whether it's on the spot, hello sweet, or we're lucky enough and Chrissy gives us just a tip, we're sure you're going to giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thank you for coming back and listening to another Highway Safety Improvement Program. It's episode 148. Highway.
I'm dropping everything.
I know. I love this. 148, as you know, is the subchapter of Chapter 1, Federal Aid.
We didn't know.
Yes, right? The Federal Aid and Highways of the U.S. Code, Title 23. Section 148 specifically defines the definitions of the Highway Safety Improvement Program. So in the spirit of keeping roadways safe, if you're not driving a car, don't forget your E1R bingo card, not updated, but still fun. Link in the notes.
We should have done a COVID one.
Why?
I don't know. We talk about different stuff. It could have had like iRacing on it, and Jeff doesn't wear
COVID
shoes.
bingo card.
COVID bingo card.
Bingo card. Yeah, what do you think I was talking about?
COVID
148. I was like,
Yeah,
what are
he's
you
like-
talking about? Okay, all right.
No. COVID
Let's
bingo
get
card.
on this.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're watching on the YouTubes, you're already wondering why there's a little black box and there's a whole lot of background noise. So let's start. Chris, why aren't you on video and what are you working on?
I'm currently working on the Mazda to get it ready for HPD weekend at Pit Race. This is Chrissy's brand new 07 Mazda 3, fairly heavily modified, but also fairly stock at the same time, with 248,000 miles on it.
It's hit 240.
Yeah, its next life is to be our next Lemons car, and so we decided this is a great time to pop its track cherry. So get an oil change. I'm putting Motul on the brakes and currently doing an alignment, trying to get a little more camber out of it and get the wheels pointing the way we want them to go. So tomorrow I'm leaving for the racetrack because I've got an instructor clinic on Friday. So this has got to get done tonight. So here I am.
I feel like we need to say that I have done plenty of work on this car, but you do it faster, and I had a lot of stuff to do tonight to pack for the track, so that's why I'm not.
And you pack faster than everybody.
Well, sure, and there's a lot to be done. So
we learned very closely. We just stack things near the truck and then get the hell out of your way while you go super Tetris.
Look, the idea is Chrissy got to put down the tools and come to the podcast. Kristen.
I'm in the air conditioning.
And in the air conditioning.
The air conditioning is quite a nice place to be. I'm basically swimming through the garage with the door open. So.
Hey, Chris, guess what? I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's true you do.
You do.
We'll get to you in a second.
So what else I've been working on is the boat. We basically finished the boat for this year. It's not perfect, but it is as good as it's going to get. It is in the water. We sat on it, and it was lovely. Last night I worked on the Civic. It was after I put it away in storage thinking, this is race ready, aren't I great? And then we go and try to move the Citroen, and both rear brakes lock up. We're like,
5 months ago, it was totally race ready. 5 months ago, it was ready to go.
So that's
what's
the problem.
What's going to happen? Like, what's going to happen? It was sitting there. I didn't even put the e-brake on specifically so that I wouldn't have this problem. And here we are.
Because race car.
Because race car. It's fine.
Did you get your teak flooring and all your custom stuff that you did on the floor of the boat? Is that all in?
Nope.
No.
Absolutely not, because the interior paint wasn't right. Because as we talked about last week, there something wrong with the batch I got.
Okay, so you're just gonna finish up the season with the boat as it is, and then get
we put everything together.
We
fall.
Still have to put the console and the seat and the motor. All that have to go back on anyway. So that's all in, but the floor is unfinished because we don't want to put a floor down that we're then going to have to struggle to paint around next spring. So.
And I remember you put a lot of work into that floor because this is supposed to be the floor that's taking it to the end of your life.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's all made.
All the work
Yeah.
should be taking us to the end of our end of this.
Cool.
Anyway, so
Well, we know what
what
Chris
happened?
is working on. Chrissy, what were you helping? Why don't you fill us in?
Oh, well, so Chris also, you missed the story about the wheel lock key.
oh yeah,
No.
that was fun tonight. I went to take the wheels off the Mazda and found that we didn't know where the rear lock key is. That's probably my fault because I put the summer tires on it. Wheel lock key's gone. No clue. So that's always a nice feeling when that happens. So I proceeded to find the 12 millimeter socket that I didn't care about that was just a little smaller than the wheel lock key and wheel locks, and hammered it on gently, just enough to be able to turn those off, and then put it in the vise and was able to hammer the wheel lock back out and use the same socket for all four, which I'm pretty proud of. So, and right now I have a Mendel splinter in my toe. So this is going really well.
I always had
Oh.
to get the cheap extensions, the 3/8 extensions that you don't care about, and weld those onto the lost wheel lock key.
Yeah. I mean, that was in the idea realm, but never made it there, fortunately. So
That's not a bad idea. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Hmm.
I mean, I would have welded a bolt to it, not an extension.
We're also
Yeah,
trying to get it done.
extensions are
quickly,
cheap.
so-
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, bolts are even
It's- well,
cheaper.
at this point, it's what do you have more of? So
What don't you care as
Bolts.
much about?
I
and what
got a
can
lot
you-
of bolts.
Yeah.
What can you get replaced
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
easily?
Yeah.
All
All right, who's next? Mental, go.
Mental,
Because you're
go.
like somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did get the air shocks installed in the Benz. Got those
Yay.
R knots. They showed up. They're actually, you side by side compare them to the original AMGs. They're much better pieces of equipment. And
How did the install go?
I'm not going to say painless,
Okay.
but I am going to say smooth. And it was just
good.
one of those things where I'm like, all right, I'm feeling the urge to start hammering things. It's time to go inside now. But I'd say all in all, it probably took me about 8 hours. All ones out. And I watched a bunch of videos and read a bunch of stuff. And the one thing they all said to break the
The
ball
airline?
joint.
Oh, the
No,
ball
the
joint,
ball
okay.
joint at the top of the upper A-arm. And I could not get that in there. And as I started to do it, I noticed that I was starting to damage them. And instead, what I did is I just pulled the three things and pulled the whole thing out. One of them, I'm not 100% confident. And I looked on FCP Euro and they were $30. So I got a new set coming. I'm going to replace those next week. But I did immediately jump into the car and give it an 1,100 mile road test. Left my house last night at 7:30 p.m. local time and arrived here about lunch. And I am in Shelton, Washington, just outside of the racetrack for the
Is it
race.
really that far?
Yeah.
I mean, they're like both on that side of the Mississippi. I mean, how far could they really be apart?
Mexico to Canada.
No, it's not Mexico to Canada.
It's almost. It's almost. Absolutely.
It's
it is.
Arizona to Canada.
Yeah, but you don't
it
live in
is.
Arizona. You live in Vegas.
I live.
That's
Look
pretty
at
far
that.
south, Jeff.
Arizona.
I guess.
Look at a map. It's far.
So
I'm at the
There's-
pointy.
there's
I'm at
one-
the teat of the cow teat of Nevada.
okay. So I once drove from Flagstaff, Arizona to Philomath, Oregon. And that was pretty close to 1,000. So I guess that's about
Yeah.
the same, right? Because
Yeah.
Shelton, Washington's pretty
All the
far
way
up
up.
there. All the way up
It's-
there. All right.
It's not quite Olympia, but I mean it's most of the way.
Yes. And
Cool.
So why are you at the racetrack?
Yes,
Why?
I am one of the two judges for the Pacific Northwest Lemons race that we're doing here. So it's me and I forgot his name, but and then Jay will be here and Lisa. They made Lisa made Lisa not have to drive the questionable lemons van, so she got a rental van. So she made it up here also in a reasonable amount of time. So she and I are here. Everyone else flies in tomorrow. And
Cool.
then we'll get the track set up, and we've got a socially distanced race to have this weekend.
Yep. But at our favorite track, pretty much our favorite track. Pretty
Well,
high.
and-
up
I've
there.
never been there. I'm very excited.
It's great.
And
What is exciting
Nice.
about this track?
a lot of elevation. Yeah, it's a really pretty part of the country, but
It
something
is.
you guys may not know that you'll be excited, you and Chris will be excited
What?
about, is they now have permanent bathrooms, like actual permanent
Yes.
structures, not stuff that you put on the back of a truck. And they've actually added a bunch of buildings. So they've done a lot of site improvements and infrastructure support. So Lisa's very excited.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were working on it. I mean, we were there. I think they just showed up in my Facebook memories this week. I want to say 6 years ago, maybe more. So
This is the inaugural season of the actual fully functional poopers.
Oh, well, it's 6 years ago. It was nothing but a sand pit. So you didn't go in the sand pit. There were porta potties, but there was nothing else in the park. It was barely.
It wasn't a
parking
litter
lot.
box, people.
I apologize. I took it back. I'm just saying, like, there was nothing on the property except for a freshly poured tarmac that wasn't very big, and and sand. There was nothing else there.
The tarmac still isn't very big, but I think where you're talking about the sand, they are expanding that, and they have prepped it now for asphalt, and they've also got like a Jeep course. They've got a 4-wheel drive kind of rock crawler thing that they built. It's pretty cool.
Again, I was 6. I would hope that they have done more since then, because it's been a long time since we were there.
Awesome.
Cool.
And I've made some travel plans for next month, but we'll talk about that towards the end of the show.
Okay.
Awesome.
Great.
My turn.
Sure. Go.
So what have I been doing? Just like Chris, I am thrashing on a car getting ready for our track day, except Chrissy has been daily driving the track car that Chris is prepping. Mine has sat in the side yard of my father's house in my father's care for the last year. So
What, you're saying your dad doesn't take great care of his cars?
No.
He is a wakeman after all. According to a meme that I got from Chris, Chrissy has not been driving the Mazda 3. She's been ignoring it for the new puppy.
No, not at all.
Actually, lately she's been driving the Mazda a lot.
I drove it last Friday. I drove it probably the week before then too. I mean, whenever I leave, I take it. So yes,
she doesn't love it like the new puppy, but
I mean, you know.
Well, you're also not going to throw dirty stuff in the new one yet, when you have the Mazda sitting there. So I don't know if I mentioned.
Just be stupid.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I got my letter. I have to go back to work again soon, in a couple of weeks.
Like physically?
Like physically have to go to the office. So instead of walking downstairs to my office, turning on Zoom and Zooming all of my meetings, I will be driving 45 minutes to get to my office, shutting the door, turning on my laptop, and going on to all my Zoom meetings.
I presume you've already secured a projector to project race car video behind you on the wall so you feel at home.
I'm thinking about bringing my green screen to work, just because why not?
What is the advantage of that? Like
you're
gonna isolate when you're there anyway. You don't want to talk to people. So.
I don't know.
New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
HR said it's time to go back, so now I go back.
And how many people are going back? Chris, put on mute. You're loud.
Sorry.
So yeah,
just camber.
Pretty much everybody in my office will be back. The students won't be back for about another month and a half or so, 5-6 weeks. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm going back. More on that later. The important part is, and why it's on what you're working on, I have put the pedal to the metal on every single job I had laying around all summer. So not the Z, don't get excited. We'll get to that soon.
The important part is you asked me how I'm going to get down to the shore.
How are you going to get down the shore?
Funny you should ask. I have a car now.
Yeah, I have a car now. Exactly. Bitchin' Camaro, right?
Yes.
My parents drove it up from Puerto Rico. No. Ignore that. Ignore that. So I have been staying up till about midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and either lightly hammering or lightly sawing, trying not to annoy my neighbors while I try and finish the floor project, while I try and do everything on the Mazda, which we're going to talk about in the main topic, so I'm not going to go too much into that. But I also got a professional estimate on fixing the air conditioning in my Mazda 3 because I figured I got to start driving it soon. So, quiz time. Around the table, when I bring my busted ass 170,000 mile Mazda 3 to a professional and say, give me an estimate on the air conditioning, what dollar figure and what things do you think they find?
Okay. First off, why are you taking that to anyone?
Because he's busy.
Air conditioning. I don't have the pump. I don't have that.
stuff.
you-
and
you
Not on
can
the vacuum.
build the system and then have someone pressure test it.
I got other things to do. I got track cars to build.
right? What and floors to fix. And what kind of shop are you bringing it to?
It was
Think that helps?
wasn't a dealership. It was a
Like a local
reputable local, yeah.
General Mechanics or an AC
General
specialist?
Mechanics.
Not
I'm going
an
to
AC
support Jeff on taking a car to AC, get that done. I did that even with Snowflake. I got the new compressor put on because they have to evacuate the system and
Well,
do all
and-
that
What are you gonna
crap, and
do
yeah,
with
it's easy.
it? And like,
Right.
right. And I when I lived in Oklahoma, all the Okies, they could all do that stuff. And then we had the one guy at the dealer that would, do the recovery and then charge it with the Freon. And you could just charge you for the Freon. But they in fact, they would take cars that never had air conditioning and put them in there with junkyard parts, pressure test them, say it's good to go. And they added AC to all of their cars because it's Oklahoma.
Yeah.
yeah.
What kind of cars don't have AC these days? All right, so
And
dollar
these are all
figures
Hondas.
and any kind of thought on what other things they may have found and what random things they suggested that I was like, huh?
All right. I'm gonna say
Oh, wait.
$647, and you needed a compressor and a receiver dryer and a switch of some sort.
Okay.
I'm gonna
600.
I'm going to say $1,200, and they said compressor, condenser, and new lines and new refrigerant.
I'm gonna say 1,500. I feel like we're on the prices right.
1501.
1,500. All the 1,501. All of the items that Mental just said, plus new rear tires and brake lines.
And they didn't want to touch your car because they're worried it's infected with the Rona because there's still soup in it.
No soup. They did not
Okay.
touch anything on the interior. The bill was $2,400.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The estimate, because they are not turning a wrench on my car, was $2,400. Everything in the air conditioning, not the lines. So compressor was energized but not kicking on, and they said there was a leak in it. So compressor, dryer, condenser, blah 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 blah. They said I needed they said my exhaust has a hole in it, which is new since the Rona. I haven't really driven it much, and so I just sitting there. I guess it rusted out. They said I needed not tires, surprisingly.
Darn.
They said I needed brakes all around, and I
Did we
was
say
like,
brakes? Oh, I said brake
"You
lines.
didn't say brakes," and I was like, "No, I don't. You're wrong. Thank you for coming." And then they said
That's
I
included
needed
in the 2,400.
yeah, and then they said
Alright.
I needed a windshield. I'm like, it's been cracked since 2012, so bam, F on that. And then they said I needed an injector cleaner.
That's when you stop talking. As
I was
soon as
like,
anybody
gotta
starts
go.
playing that crap. Here, we sell this bottle for only $17.
Did you wear a sports car shirt into the garage?
No, I told him I
Oh.
only asked you to check the air conditioning. You're
Well,
not
they want to
my brake.
upsell you because you look
Yeah.
like a stupid American,
Yeah.
and that you
So-
Fuel
just
injector
shell out the
cleaner. Oh
money.
my god!
I said thank
Blinker
you.
fluid.
Yeah, no, it wasn't
Muffler
in the
bearings?
bottle. Mental. They were suggesting the Vaco suck. No, it didn't
And
matter.
what did they want to charge for the Vaco suck?
Oh, so I said, no, can I curse today? Are we going to be allowed to curse today?
Sure.
I said, no, asshole, just the air conditioning. $2,000.
So
He said
But-
the compressor itself is $1,000 part. Rock Auto had it for like $260.
he didn't bother to look it up because they didn't want to work on it.
Well, that's why
They
Chris said 675 because if the compressor
Yeah.
is that cheap,
They-
you should
Yeah.
have been
$1,000 is the I'm too lazy to look up this part cost because you're not going to do
Quote,
this work anyway.
like $1,000.
But I'm fascinated to know how much they want to charge you for the suck.
It doesn't matter. I
Cleaning.
said, give it back. Get the
I was
hell
saying because Chris, when you sent off the injectors for the Honda to have them balanced and blueprinted, how much was that?
And I had to get my phone out of my pocket and come off mute. It's
Yeah.
like $30 each.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they want like, oh, we're
No,
gonna
I
do
think it was
this whole
like it's
thing,
probably
we're gonna-
$50.
We're
for
gonna
that.
pressure
Because when I said don't do the brakes and don't do the it only took off like $400. I was like, you're way like
they
this
did
just
not
goes to
want.
show.
They did not want to do the work on that car.
this
That's
just goes
exactly
to
what
show
we
that
did.
I have no ability to estimate what regular people charge, like pay
No,
to work on their
I'm
car.
I'm just telling you right now. They looked at that car and said, "Don't want to do it. Give them too high of an estimate." They didn't even want to put the work into it to get you a proper estimate.
Maybe.
Crazy.
Maybe. Anyway. So I just want to mention 2 other quick things because it doesn't have anything to do about the car, but they're interesting stories. So on my welder, because I'm doing welding, the hose between the tank and the welder has a hole in it, and had a hole in it like a bunch of years ago, and I just duct taped it and it was fine.
This is why your AC doesn't work.
This
Jeff.
is
So,
bad.
This is on the welder. This is on the welder. So I mean,
It doesn't matter.
It's the MIG gas. It can't. I mean, it can't hurt.
General Wakeman problem.
Exactly.
Check it off on your card.
That's like a general Wakeman attitude.
Okay.
So my brother was screwing around with it, and he turned it on too high, and it blew out the tape, and then it leaked more. So then I was out of gas. All right. So I had to go on an epic search for welding gas. Like Monday night. Wait, what day is today? No, it was Tuesday night.
Wednesday.
We always, we
Yeah,
usually
Tuesday
record
night.
on
Tuesday night at 6:00, I turned on the tank to get to work, and there's no gosh darn it gas. And I'm like,
doesn't you have a Harbor Freight? Oh, Harbor Freight
I don't
doesn't
sell gas.
No,
I
our Tractor Supply does.
So
That's
yeah,
what
so I
that's what
went to the
was thinking of.
Tractor Supply, and they had no
Yeah.
gas.
What?
And
No way.
everything was closed, so I had to run out to a place this morning. But I have that I have the 80-gallon tank. It's like bigger than the regular tank.
Yeah,
I
we have two
swapped it
different
out for
sets.
me. It was great. But Chrissy, the reason I bring this up is I get there and I pull the tank out. You know, COVID, I can't go in the store, but he'll swap it right at the door for me. And they swap, don't fill. And he goes, you got a lid? You got a cap?
Get out.
And I'm like,
No.
at
Screw
my
you. No.
house.
Do you
There's-
even have a lid? Some
Yeah,
people
I have
don't
a yeah, I have
lid.
the cap. I have the cap. He says, you really shouldn't transport this thing without a lid. I'm gonna have
Oh,
to charge you for the
good.
cap. So now I had that extra $10 for the cap. But safety squirrel,
Yeah, that's great.
put the cap on the dang lid, whatever that thing is.
Yeah, but it was if you're transporting it, it was empty, and it was probably down the street. So
Yeah, but I was picking up a new one.
Yeah, but the
So-
old one, transporting the old one, whatever. Yes,
Yeah.
the right answer is put a cap on.
Put a cap
That's
on it.
Great, good, do that.
Yeah.
That's
Another
right.
fun
About this-
story is I was under the car welding today. We'll get to that in a minute. And the UPS guy showed up, and he was like, "Hi, are you Jeff Wakeman?" I'm like, "Yeah." He
No.
says, "This is a Rock Auto box. You want me to throw it under there for you?"
That's great.
I thought it was so nice of him.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes. But that's it. That's we're going to talk about what I'm working on as the main part of the story, so we could just keep moving on.
I'll tell you real quick about what I'm doing.
Oh, I thought you already said it.
Wait. Hang on. Keep talking about that because I've got something for the next section.
Okay, Chrissy, what you working on?
I've been scrambling to try to get the paddock made.
Mm.
So we are, I think we're splitting our paddock stuff. So we're headed to the track, right? We are splitting our paddock meals with the Fishers because they're bringing plenty of people. So I'm trying to do half. They're doing the other half. Don't know what they're serving. I told them what I'm serving, but I'm trying to do logistics of a minimal, less than our normal 16 or 25 or whatever we cook for. So it should only be 10. But we still have plenty of stuff to do. So breakfasts and lunches and crock pots and water and Gatorade and how do we stay cool and how many coolers we bring and water and all that stuff. So, so it's been a scramble today. And we also are, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag too much, but,
Meow.
Yep. We are giving some of our parts away for, I don't know if there's any kind of money. Yep. Meow. I don't know where my cat is, but, some of the parts to Bill. So Bill's new build is something that we have lots of parts for.
I think he talked about it on his podcast, didn't
Okay.
he?
I don't know. I just didn't want to.
Who cares?
Too much away.
They're making a
but-
Honda. Nobody cares.
So we're giving up.
That podcast went almost 3 hours. I don't know who that clown was they had on there.
I don't know, and I don't. Know
I
who
didn't
listens
listen to that
long,
one.
And
so- right?
we're actually we're not even getting them that many Honda parts because I'm out of room because I'm also bringing the Jazzy that they're buying, a set of BMW wheels.
They're buying
like-
the Jazzy?
Yeah,
Yes.
so they're different. I'm not able to tell you exactly what it is, but I'm assuming it's theme related if they're getting the Jazzy. So, but they were looking for one and found one for sale in my town.
in Birdsboro.
Right, and I said,
a
you know, if you
different
guys
Jazzy,
really-
not
right,
our
so
Jazzy.
No,
I'm
they are.
selling
They're buying
ours
our Jazzy.
because I'm bored with ours. So I said, if you're buying a Jazzy, I'll just sell you ours because that's fine. There you go. Anyway.
So we have a
way.
new Jazzy
No.
project.
No.
It's called Scooty.
Yeah, the Scooty.
That's true.
He's Jazzy when he
Half the
gets
time
Scooty.
we didn't bring Jazzy anymore because we had Scooty.
And you didn't
it's
even notice.
It takes up a lot of room. It's annoying to deal with.
The last
We had
person
our-
that
we had
fell
our
in
fun.
love with Jazzy was Jay when you wouldn't get out of it at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep.
Yeah, so that we emptied our basement with a lot of parts for him. So now we have an empty basement, which is awesome. And yeah, just been a little bit of scramble, but that's where I'm sitting in the house and Chris is outside. So let's move on. News
So I'm so
and
disappointed because
Oh.
Lisa gave me
Whoa.
this
That's
Oh.
and I
really
brought
big.
it up here, but it's not charged.
Can you
Mine has
get your plug it in?
batteries.
Yeah, she said it was
From the
charged and ready to go. It doesn't have to be. Yeah.
News and notes.
I don't even know where mine is. I have the.
Someone
okay.
wanted to, for those who are, now that I can't see, you might want to describe what you're talking about to listeners who
You're gonna have to go,
can't
you're
see.
gonna have to go to YouTube. I had a megaphone. It was going to be awesome. All
We all
right,
know
so
it's a megaphone. News and
one
notes.
of our favorite pro drivers, Catherine Legge, was injured in a crash in France.
Oh,
last
I didn't
week.
hear this.
I heard about
No,
this. I did.
Catherine. She's if you don't know, Catherine's raced Indy 500 twice. She's competed in Formula E. She's done NASCAR's Xfinity Series, and most people remember her as soon as you say she drove the Delta Wing.
She drove the
Oh, yes.
Delta Wing.
She
Hello.
owned that Delta Wing. But she actually broke her leg. Initially thought she broke her wrist. Turns out it was just severely bruised after crashing. She went off backwards into one of the high-speed turns at the end of a straightaway for the European Le Mans Series. Her Orca Gibson LMP2 car went off the Circuit Paul Ricard at high speed and hit the guardrail. Her Instagram showed her in really good spirits after a surgery. She posted, "Thanks for everyone's messages and well wishes. It means a great deal and is super motivating for me. I will be back." They actually got that car back together and it finished 6th in that race. But we do have a link to that in our show notes.
Sorry, Catherine. Get better soon. Honda, do not get better soon. I'm pissed at you.
Wow.
What do we always talk about when we're talking about driving stick? Honda is the greatest car company because they basically offer everything in a proper 3-pedal car. Not no more. So, here's what they just killed recently. Be prepared to pour one out. The Honda Fit. The entire Fit. Dead, gone. Are they...
Did you really want one? Did you
No,
really want
no, but people love them. But here's the worst part. They still have a Honda Fit in Europe. They're just not bringing it here.
Well, that's
It's competing with the Civic for sales, and they don't want that.
Well, they also don't want the Civic because the Civic Coupe also axed.
okay.
The SI, gone. So the only option will be the Type R. Manual Accord, also gone. 3 of the
I'm
greatest cars with a
stunned they
manual
still
stick.
make a manual Accord.
Me too.
I have not seen a manual Accord in 2 generations.
You're dead to me, Honda. That's all.
Except you're gonna drive. You might. Well, no, you can't
Yeah.
drive one this weekend. You don't have time.
No,
I'll
I'll be driving other stuff.
Right, you're gonna be stuck in your little Miata. Under the heading of Sadwood, stalwart of the 80s. Come on, I was doing this in the 2000s. BBS Wheels has filed for bankruptcy in Germany. According to an article in Motor Illustrated, renowned wheelmaker BBS has filed for bankruptcy yet again, this time in a German court. This latest bankruptcy filing, submitted on July 16th, is the third in the last 15 years for BBS, who also sought protection from its creditors from 2007 to 11. Not going so well, BBS. Owned by Nice Holdings. In South Korea, BBS is known for pioneering a 3-piece racing wheel. They're
Basket
racing
weave.
wheels? Well, I mean, I know. I mean, I only know them from when I had Poke on a whatever I had.
Scirocco, right? Corrado.
No, I had a Corrado. In 1972, they will continue normal operations for the time being. Link in our show notes. So sad for those guys that like to have so much Poke on their Honda
not even
hella flush.
not
Anything
even
hella flush.
the poke. You know, I keep telling you guys I'm on my Miami Vice kick. All the E30s, man, just a slight rake. They're sitting on BBSs. You know, not even the hella flush. Just BBS was the look.
Yeah.
Absolutely. BBS basket
And still is, though. I
Yeah.
feel like, well, I mean, I'm not on that scene, but I believe for those that are on the scene,
It's
feel like
definitely a Radwood thing. Like you'll see, like the really good looking cars at Radwood always have BBSs.
and they are so still, well, I guess the resale is very expensive, but I guess if BBS is not, nobody's buying them. Not many people are buying them new, maybe?
No, they just
yeah,
a
that might be
terrible
the problem.
company that can't manage themselves.
It sounds like it.
If-
Okay, let's move on.
No, we're not going to move on.
BBS still makes plenty of wheels.
Yeah.
You can go buy them tomorrow for cars. They don't make just basket weaves. They make all kinds of stuff, all kinds of good motorsport stuff. It's always premium price, but good quality. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
absolutely.
So I didn't realize there were
They
still
sell
a-
a ton
Oh,
of
yeah.
wheels.
like they make a bunch of stuff for your new Mercedes, honey. For example.
Oh, okay. Well, I should help them because they're going out of business, so or at least bankrupt for now.
I have another news story. Sorry, I
Please.
didn't make it in the notes. Sabine Schmitz, Ring
Nope,
Taxi.
Nope, you didn't read the
Read the
notes.
notes.
Sorry,
It's later.
it's there.
Yep.
Then I'll
Yep.
just keep going.
Thanks.
Upcoming races. What do we got? Before we get into the immediate upcoming races, let's talk about our friend Kathy in the Lucky Dog Race League. August 14th through the 16th, Lucky Dog is making their East Coast debut. Yeah, this side of the country. Who Let the Dogs Out, brought to you by J-Zilla Track Days and Chill Out Systems, is at Charlotte Motor Speedway using the 2.28-mile 17-turn Roval course, 3-day Southern extravaganza with 18 hours of track time. Both chicanes are operational. It's going to be a great time. They're going to be running under the lights. Registration is open. Early dog discount ends August 1st, 2020. Still sweating that entry. Kathy has given us a super secret discount code of Lucky Lemons because she's awesome. So use the super secret discount code Lucky Lemons and go register for that East Coast race. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we talked about Lucky Dog and Kathy, but she's awesome and has a great product. All of you East Coasters who have never been to a Lucky Dog race, absolutely get to the Roval down in Charlotte.
Great track too. That is it's NASCAR facility, so you know the showers are great. You know the garages will be great. There'll be plenty of space. Yeah, and read that last bit.
I'm about to. She
Okay.
also told us. Oh man, I zoomed out of the screen. There we go. Lucky Dog is giving away over $10,000 in sponsor prizes. So I know Bill just paid about $10,000 for a whole set of tires for every single
I
race
believe it
car.
was.
So check it out.
And she said Bill's already
RaceLucky.com.
signed up and he's bringing 3 cars.
Hey, that would be amazing if he actually did. But by the way, Jeff, those tires, 4 of those are ours.
I know. I was aware.
Okay, just checking. Yeah.
She really wants some of us to be there. I know it's literally the week after the one we're already planning on going, but I'm still eyeballing flights. I really want to get out there and support them. But if we can't go, you guys all should go. No one has a bad time at a Lucky Dog race.
No one. Not at all. Lemons at the
Lemon.
Ridge.
Is at the Ridge this week here in Washington State. As I mentioned, I'm here now. Come say hi, but just do it from a safe distance. There are 47 cars, a mere 6 BMWs, because this is the Pacific Northwest, 3 Miatas, 3 Hondas, nary a single Porsche, and of course, Chrissy's favorite Corrado.
Oh, yay. I can't wait to hear about how this is going to go. So excited.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about some recent results. AER was at pit race this weekend. Race 1 was won handily by our former guest Trevor Andrusko and SJS Motorsports. Not only did they win by 4 laps, but they also had the fastest lap of the day at 1:51.4. Second was Raphael Racing, 2 laps back, and second was AF Racing. From second, and they were AF Racing. Sunday was saw SJS on top again by 3 laps, and FTG was with a 1:51.3. AF Racing was second, and third was Hitman Racing. On Saturday, our Lemons buddies Krabby Crouch managed our 10th overall in their Jetta.
Nice. Champ was at Nelson's Ledges for the camp out at Nelson. Saturday, the lineup was Z-Tech in an Accord, one lap over JSK Racing in their Maxima. See, that's what I like. Accords and Maximas. What was Trevor in? Some kind of Porsche, right?
GT3.
GT3,
It's a-
yeah.
Oh,
Here's the-
what?
Well, I say it's actually not. It was an old GT3
What?
that they home converted into a GT3 Club
That
Sport.
makes it better.
Great.
There's a lot of blood in that car from their knuckles.
So the premium dudes were in a boring BMW. They lost by 3 laps on Sunday. Visceral Racing Group's 944. Now that's the kind of Porsche you should be racing. Edged out McKibben's Biohazard in their MR2 by a lap. Third
And
was
that's Bill Strong's Biohazard. He's turned
Yeah.
some wrenches on that car.
third was Shut Up Racing in a boring BMW. They had a Chevy Beretta of 60-degree racing, so I assume it was the lovely V6 in that thing. Were 10th overall and 4th in class on Saturday, but 24th overall and 12th in class on Sunday. But still, Chevy frickin' Beretta. Is that a 3.1? Is that a Eurosport? Is it turquoise?
Wow, you're very passionate about this.
Love Berettas.
Yes. And
Why?
World Racing League was at Road Atlanta. First went to Team GTR. 1 lap back was Hammer Motorsports, and Team ACP Tangerine Associates was 5 laps back from those two. Sunday had Team ACP in third again, 1 lap down from the second place finisher, Old Fashioned Motorsports, and they were only 24 seconds behind the lead. But that was TLM USA. Now our special guest Tyler Hoffman and the Kingpin crew managed 5th overall both days. And our other guest, Patrick Wilmot, was on pace to win when a brake issue took him out Saturday. On Sunday, they went from P3 to the lead, had a mechanical issue, brought it in, fought back up to the lead, and fell bound to another mechanical issue. They were not alone. On Saturday, 18 of those 48 cars didn't finish, and on Sunday it was 17 that didn't make it. As Patrick
Wow.
so eloquently summed up in his IG post, endurance racing is hard.
Awesome. Do you have your megaphone?
No, she said it was charged until the next show.
Listener feedback time. Every week I say, give us an iTunes review. Well, somebody did, and no, Steph, we're not reading it. We will read your Instagram comment on our Bradley Brownell episode, though. It said, raise hell, praise Dale, Brad down Applebee's. BRAD. That's what she typed.
Yes.
Not my problem. I
No, she
read
did
what
it
you
'cause
wrote.
Because it was under the Brad episode.
Oh, I just thought you couldn't spell. Also, Mental's buddy Fitz left a great review. He said, I love Mental, but he left it on the other podcast. So hopefully someone in the Garage Heroes podcast will come over here and give us a good review.
Okay.
He is the director of operations of a combat group. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. Well, he left it on the wrong podcast.
Can't get the podcast straight.
Right? Do it on the other one. On Facebook, Jeff posted a link of Sabine telling a tale of her battle with cancer since 2017. This year, she's unable to race. Everyone's very supportive, and if you don't love her skill, humor, and humility of the Queen of the Ring, we can't be friends. Go break cancer's face, Sabine. We need a win in 20, probably 21.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Now, on our Fuel Cells Are Stupid episode, Dan Gillis actually linked an article from one of his team members on how they did theirs, and they actually have fuel gauges and everything. And according to him, it's been really trouble-free, including the sketchy $50 Southeastern Moldovan source video float in a tube level center and matching gauge, but it's big-throated. Phil lets them dump uncapped 5 gallons as fast as we could dump them on the ground. It has reduced the length of our pit stops, but still not enough to make up for our thirsty V8 cheater BMW needing 3 stops a day. Well, that and our dumb habit of occasionally getting black flags. But a link to that article is in our show notes.
Nice.
Okay, let's talk racer Rona Reaction Lemons Season 3 at Second Racing League. It was an international event at the Old Monza with banked turns. Sure, Jettas, Miatas, Mustangs, and Slowstisses were there, but the 87 NASCARs were as fun as it was. Season 3 is started every Sunday night. Check the details at iSuckAtRacing.com for this Sunday's Silly Hat, Snow Pedals, No Wheel Race. None of us will be there. We're either racing, judging, or teaching, or doing something else. Our Three Pedal Mafia stand-in will be a machine touching meat bag, Hamsa, which I didn't realize, which is so fun. If you can't race, you're totally turn in because it's going to be an awesome one.
Yeah, please go to the race. It's fun. So we held a race. Was I there? No. They went to NJMP though, which is great because it's like half rendered. So like all the trees just kind of look like dots. So Uncle Dave let Mental have his
unrendered for like years. Why did
Yeah.
they just not? They're like, this is enough, and we're just not going to do it.
I guess I don't know.
Oh, okay.
How does somebody get their track rendered?
I don't know. I just figured they would finish it or something. I don't know.
So Mental wanted to have his AMG GT, but there were no legends there to punt. So that car's pretty quick, but he could never get more than 30 seconds ahead of Amanda. What was Amanda in, her Mustang?
No, street stock.
Street stock. Wow.
Every time I'd come over those back, the three right-handers going through there, where you have to come all the way down into second to make that final tighten up turn, I'd look across the track and there she was.
Wow, that's crazy. Amanda is a hell of a driver in real space.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was good in virtual space. So awesome. There is one problem with racing with Amanda in iRacing. She doesn't use headphones, and she has some sort of screechy pet animal in the background, and you can always hear her. Like you can hear her track spotter because it trips her mic.
Yes, and yeah, she had that on speakers, and she's still using the English guy. She hasn't transferred to the Southern do Cole or something when you go into the voices.
You hear, you're next, and I go, no, I'm not. Oh no, that wasn't me. So anyway, they went to Daytona after that, the bumpy legacy Daytona with the 87s and the Silverado pickups, and one clown ran an AMG GT. I wonder who that was. And they started and finished in the pits. How did that happen?
Trying to adjust it for a oval. I got the spoiler all the way to 4 degrees. It was absolutely perfect. So I took more spoiler out right before the end of qualifying and
Got
absolutely
butt
lost
heavy.
all stability. No, it as I would come out of turn 4 doing absolutely nothing, the rear end would loop around on it and it would spin me into the pits and blow up.
Oh, well.
But you know who never finishes or starts in the pits?
Chrissy's mom.
It's true. All right, let's move
So,
on to me. No.
I was going to say, can we get an update from Chris? Chris, how's the banging going?
He's got to take the phone.
No.
That well. He's got
Yeah.
to reach into his pocket and turn the phone.
I've apparently been adjusting the camera in the right rear the wrong way, so I'm putting it the other way now.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Oh well. The other 3 wheels camber is good.
Awesome.
Good.
So you keep working on that. We're going to talk about my Miata. So I want you all to take a moment, whether you're in the podcast.
Hold on. Before you cast our minds. Today I stopped at a little roadside coffee stand just because I was tired of being in the car. So I was just standing outside the car. I ended up talking to another customer, and I gave her a sticker because she's like, "Oh my God, this is your car." I'm
Oh
like,
my God,
"Yeah."
are you Mental from three?
No, yeah, she's like,
Everyone Racers? Oh my God.
She was pointing at all the bugs on the front of the Mercedes. I'm like, yeah, it didn't look like that when I left Las Vegas. She goes, "You drove from Las Vegas? How long did it take you?" I'm like, "Well, I left last night." And so she might be listening to this episode because I did give her a sticker. What is your Miata?
Oh, well, we're going to get there. So
Okay.
what we're going to be talking about my Miata, and I wanted you to all take a moment and close your eyes and just think about the roughest Miata you've ever seen in your life. Like street Miata, just the crappiest of crap you've ever crapped in your crappy life.
Where's the rust though?
What do you mean? Where's the rest?
Well, I'm trying to make a picture of like crappiest crap Miata. Like it could be full of rust. And the rust
Oh,
that I notice so much is on the door frame. So when
there's
you
definitely
hurt your
some.
arm like this, you basically your arm eats a whole shard of.
Yes. Well, that's not really rust. That's like the plastic flaking off.
No, it's rust.
So,
But okay.
so picture that in your mind, because every time we talk about a Miata today, that's what we're looking at. I'm going to take you back to 2006, I believe. Maybe it was 2005. I'm not really sure. A Craigslist ad showed up that said Mazda, $200. If you clicked on it, you realized it was a Miata. This was back before we were doing lemons, so I ran out and I bought it out of a yard. So it's lived a good portion of its life in a yard. I bought it out of a yard for an honest to God $200. This is the truth. It wasn't running. The guy was about to go across the seas for work for the next 6 months, and he was paying for his parking spot $160 a month. So he needed it gone that night, and I could get it out that night, and I was the first person to respond. So it didn't work. It needed a starter. Actually, it just needed some wires fixed. So this is a street car. This is a 1990 Miata. It is at this point.
By street car, he means it has plates, because I wouldn't even qualify.
No, no,
that
no.
Miata
it's
that
not a
Miata is
show car.
behind you right now on the screen in better shape.
No.
Oh,
I mean, when I
yeah.
get it, when I get it in 1990, it is a faded red. In 2005, it is a faded red, full interior, kind of sun worn and beat up, but a standard 100% stock vehicle. And
Sure.
this is the main topic that we're talking about tonight: the progression of this car to a track rat. And there's a Venn diagram in my mind of, when does a car cease to be in circle A, that is street car, and start to live in circle B when it is race car, and where do the two overlap? And we're going to talk about that progression, but I think Mental wants to say something to begin with.
So I've worked this theory for years.
All right, I'm ready.
And it comes into the whole concept of chasing the dragon. So we're all gearheads. We've all been doing this for a very long time. So you buy your car and you autocross it, or you just go on some spirited drives, or you're actually, doing track days. And you start to get good with that car if you do it properly. And then you make a modification. You get a little bit faster. You make another modification. You get a little bit faster. But there's that one modification that you make that once you make this modification, it is either going to be uncomfortable, unreasonable, or illegal to operate on the street. And then that's when
we're going to talk about all of that today.
Right. And that's when you move into the truck and trailer realm. And then one day you're sitting there on your truck and trailer, towing your race car, and you look over at the dealer or on Craigslist or on Facebook Marketplace or on eBay, and you're like, wait a minute, I could sell all of this and buy one of those, and it would be fast enough to have on the track, and I could daily drive it. And then you make a modification, and then you make a modification. Now we've all kicked that, right? We're not chasing that dragon. We just all go straight for the hardcore stuff. Just buy the damn race car. Right then, buy the race car. It will do nothing but be race car.
Totally.
But
so
it's if you don't know it the first time, you know it every time since then. That one modification that if you make that mod, that is no longer your daily driver.
Well, now that's interesting, because that's exactly how we're going to start the story, where I want you all to tell me when I cross that bridge.
When you finish what you're doing right now.
With the podcast, I don't think that's going to do it.
Nope. With the seat.
So listen, so here it is. The first version, it was old, it was stock, it was beat, it was busted, it was $200. We took it on the Babe Rally. We spray painted it. It had numbers on it. It had busted ass bushings. It was a total rattle trap 1.6 liter, slow as hell, but more fun than you could possibly imagine Miata. Chris, you drove this in its totally beat ass condition, and you had a Miata. I think you had an NB at that point, and you brought it back to me and you said something. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, it wasn't totally stock. You'd done the suspension on it that year. You had the KYBs and the roll bar and stuff.
I thought you drove it before I did that.
At Pitt?
No. You drove it on the street. So you don't
I don't
remember.
remember what I said.
Yeah,
I remember what I said at Pitt. After Pitt, like I'm getting a little ahead because I have my mute off just because I'm here. After you'd done other stuff to it, and I was driving the NSX that weekend, and I came back from just flogging the shit out of that little car. I said, I think I actually just had more fun in that than I did in the NSX.
That is 100% possible. So we were at my house doing some sort of wrenching, and the Miata was on the street, and you had to get lunch or get a part or something. And you and Chrissy went back, and you handed me the keys to that rattle trap Miata. Chrissy remembers.
Yeah,
do you remember what he said? You're on.
This car is connected.
I remember this now. I remember this now. Yeah.
Yes.
The suspension is like a loose consortium of bits.
Exactly.
Well, I thought it was like not Rust holding hands. It was.
No, that's the rest of the car. No, it's like a loosely associated group of people who like occasionally talk about what they're doing, but not very often.
Yeah,
that's basically what the suspension was.
Like when you would go over the bumps, you would just like
it would just be like. So
Chris, you can't see us, so we're just
I'm making So this went back and forth to New Orleans twice. It only had like at one point my brother was on the rally without me, and he said, the clutch went out. I was like, well, slam the gears and bring it home. There's no reason. I want that car back. I had done absolutely nothing to it except just what Mental was talking about. I'd buy a Go Fast part and I'd put it in the garage. I'd buy a suspension bit and I'd put it in the garage. I'd buy a roll bar. I put it in the garage.
None of this new. This is all stuff you'd find on Craigslist.
Yeah, absolutely. Just couldn't pass up. So that was old and busted. Then, as Chris mentioned, I did the suspension. I decided as soon as I start turning a wrench, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole.
Was it last year for the exact same thing you guys are doing this week?
2 years ago, actually.
2 years ago for the exact same National Autosport Association High Performance Driver Education weekend at Pit Race.
Sort of. My father asked me if I could build him an autocross car. And I looked at the Corvette in my driveway and the lonely Miata, and I said, oh, have I got the car for you, but let me fix it first. So I put in the bar, I put in a set of KYBs, I had a set of ground control springs, not the optimum setup. I don't have, Coney yellows. It was because I just collected with what I collected. It was a Boss Frog bar with nothing else with it. And I did
it had
every
socket ejecting feature that you launched at Chrissy's mom once.
Yes. I did every single suspension component that I could, all the control arms. I redid all the bushings. It was a mountain of work and a mountain of dollars. And then I handed it to my father, and he autocrossed it a couple times, and we took it to a track day. And that's when Chris mentioned that it was more fun than you could possibly imagine. It is slower than crap. A 1.6 Miata is not fast. But, man, it just works. Is it a race car yet, or is it a street car? Round the horn. At that point.
No, not a race car yet.
Full interior.
Now it's a fun street car.
Has a radio.
It was a street car. Totally a street car.
Totally street car. Chris, I also stole a bunch of parts off of one of your old Miatas.
Yeah,
so you didn't steal them.
You bought them actually.
That's true. I did buy them.
Right.
And then we exchanged because I had a ratty Miata that I was going to sell, and I said, "Well, I've got all these good parts, but I'm like they're worth more than the car, so I'm just going to sell them, a lot of them to Jeff for
and I'm
cheap,
pretty sure I swapped.
and we'll still sell the. Yeah, I said we swapped sway bars.
No, but like for some reason you guys were working on something else. And
we were working on a race car, and you swapped all the parts.
That's when I couldn't get the seat bolts out. I was like, these are not coming out.
Well, that's an interesting point. We had two seats in your Miata, and I had stock seats, and we are going to transfer them, but the rust just wouldn't let go.
I was like, you can cut this all out, and you can start over again, or you can keep them, and that's how it's going to be.
Yeah. So It was a great car. I gave it to my father. My nephew drives it around when he's home from college. He puts it in the yard. Crap grows through it. I did pick it up, and we did modify the roll bar to meet the NASA spec for the harnesses last year. And I gave it a once over, and I took it to the second track day in its life, and again had a blast. That was the time that you did have the Honda, and I got so good I started overheating the sucker. Still not a track car, I think. Then
Not a track only car.
not a track only car. Maybe at that point we're in the Venn diagram where the circles are covering each other.
And
Fully
so
suspension. Go on, Mental.
to give yourself perspective, would you have daily driven that every day to work?
Yes. But I'm a
Okay,
nut
then-
job.
Right?
Okay, and so was the suspension unreasonably stiff?
No, it's unreasonably not holding hands. Like it's all over
So
the
again,
place.
so we're still comfortably in the realm of fun street car.
Yes, we're definitely in the street car because the interior is there.
Yeah, this is after Jeff had done the ball joints and stuff. Like
Oh yeah.
the suspension was all working together as a team now.
Oh,
for
yeah.
once.
So
It was just the car
yeah.
was still just an appalling heap of shit.
Just-
So
Yeah,
that's it.
suspension bods very rarely make it a pure track car unless they're just so punishing that you pee blood when you get to work.
No, it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
But it didn't have 3-point seat belts anymore.
Nah,
So I took
I've
I
had lots of cars without that.
So I put in the harnesses, and to put in the harnesses, I had to remove the seatbelts. So that meant my father, who's in his like 70s at this point, every time he went out for ice cream with my mom, they had to strap into the 5-point harnesses,
Mhm.
or at least 3 of the 5 points of the 5-point harness.
My Boxster was like that a week after I got it. That's how I drove it for a year.
Yeah, but it's you and not your Jeff's father.
I also used the angle grinder to cut holes in the seats so that they could pass through because they were stock Miata seats. Did you do that to your Porsche?
No, I put race seats in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-reclining expired race buckets.
So we're going to get there. So this upcoming track day, we're deciding we're going to take the Miata. And I had a set of like fake race seats, not like carbon fiber buckets, but like, the kind you'd buy on eBay for a couple $100 because they had the holes in it and I wanted to mount them better and not just have stock seats with, holes cut them in with the ankle grinder. But there's a problem. And everybody with a Miata knows what I'm saying. There is not an aftermarket seat in the world, except for actually expensive race seats, that will fit in the hole of a Miata, at least, and still keep you below the bar. So I'm going to try and explain this visually. I apologize.
They're very narrow, specialized Kirkies, and no one we know would fit in one.
Yes. So the Miata tub between the transmission tunnel and the rocker sills is kind of like a trapezoid that gets skinnier at the bottom. So a wider seat does not reach the floor. And you can mount a wider seat, but they will be high. And my brother, who is taller than I am, if you measure from the butthole to the crown of his head, does not fit under the roll bar. So modifications were necessary.
How do you tell he doesn't fit into the roll bar? What device do you use?
Oh, well, there is the whole broomstick test, but we didn't even need that.
Exactly.
He was higher than it. It was like the top of his head
stand
was
behind it
above
and
the
see what
bar. Yeah.
happens.
So this is not going to pass NASA tech. So we needed to do something in it. And that means we're modifying the floor pan. I mentioned that this was in the yard of my father for about a year. I reach underneath to make sure that the neon lights don't drag on the ground because, yes, it has a neon kit on it.
Yes, it does.
And there's a giant mop of hair from underneath where the driver's pedal is. And I say, some rat made a nest in my track rat. And I get underneath and I look up. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see the position I was in. And there is a hole in the floor pan, like under the brake pedal and gas pedal, the size of a softball.
Oh no.
We need new seats. Oh, Mensa, we can't hear you.
I'm trying to get the drama here, so just stay with me. So you're shocked and depressed that your almost 30-year-old Northeast sports car has a softball hole of rust?
No,
Yes.
I'm not depressed. I'm depressed because this is going to force me to do the pan and to
Yes.
build it the way. And all of a sudden, this is not going to be this is not going to be a street car anymore.
Dad's not hopping in this
Oh.
one and running down to the Dairy Queen.
He'll still hop in it. He's just going to be sitting his ass in a Kirky now. So,
That's right.
so modifying the floor pan of a Mazda Miata.
And this
Chris,
is not uncommon territory.
This is not
Almost
uncommon
every
territory.
Miata guy does it. I run with Jerry
absolutely.
Ringel.
It's not fun though.
It's not fun. I run with Jerry Ringel, and the joke is they've got the skinny Miata and they've got the fat Miata. And the fat Miata's had the seat mod, and we all have to run the skinny Miata because none of them fit in the fat Miata.
Yeah. So there are two different alternatives that you can do to get it to get the seat lower. One is a completely dropped floor pan where you cut the entire floor pan out and you drop it down. That is the more extensive version.
Also easier to do with a car that's not suffering from rust.
True.
Yeah. When you already started out with crap, so that's what's hard
It's
about
tough.
it. Yeah.
I went for Proposition B. Proposition B is make the hole more square. So basically it means cutting the side of the transmission tunnel, and instead of having a trapezoid, putting in a piece of like 90-degree plate that will kind of make the hole squarer. You don't get as low in this, but you do get low. If you're going to put something on sliders, you're probably going to have to drop the whole pan. But if you're bolting a Kirky right to the floor, you can usually get away with this. So this is what I've been doing for the last couple of days. I have some great pictures. I will put them in the show notes. I'll make a picture story and put it in the notes. So I cut out giant chunks of the floor. I should also mention that the unibody was crushed. There's like a unibody bracing underneath. So I rebuilt that. I cut out. Yes, go ahead, Mental.
It's the unibody or one of the subframes?
It's the unibody. The floor pan has a channel.
Right.
That
and
is a
it's
stiffening.
almost like a giant expanded piece of metal that connects the front and rear subframes.
No. That's the power plant flame. That's not that.
Okay.
No, this is just the normal like square tube that runs under the seats that's on every unibody car as a stiffening brace.
Exactly. It's like a stiffening brace in the
Got
unibody.
Slow,
So
but thank you.
Somebody, I'm not going to say who, may have tried to jack up on said unibody.
Oh no.
But as we remember, it's a rusty piece of crap, so it got crushed. So I rebuilt that since that's right where the floor was. I skinned the floor inside the Miata. I actually took the seat brace, flipped it over, and that's becoming the underbody brace because they're almost exactly the same size. I cut the floors out. I repaired the floors. I did the trapezoid into a square. And then tomorrow, my brother will visit me and we will put the Kirky on the floor, angle it the way he likes it, and weld that puppy in and then get back to reassembling. Is it a race car yet? Mental, you talked about the time that it becomes a race car. Can I tell you when it was?
I was saying when the frame was crushed.
Nope. When I couldn't get the dead pedal out while we were removing the carpet because the bolts were rusted. And I looked at my brother and I say, do we really need carpet in this thing anymore?
Oh no.
And I took the razor blade and I drew a big old square in the carpet and I threw the carpet out. That is the
That's
point
fair.
of no return.
Go through, or if everyone doesn't know, just in case someone Googles Miata and they come up with this episode, what's the trick to not crush your unibody if you're jacking up a Miata, especially an NA, first generation?
Use the
Jack
pinch
it up on
welds.
the right side.
No.
Right. No.
Take a 2-foot 2x4, center it directly underneath the door handle, just inside the lip where the pinch welds are. And if you can mount it securely there, leave it, it's fine. Or just center your jack on that. You can jack up the whole side of the car there and not damage any of the unibody.
Who knew?
Everyone who has a Miata.
Not me.
No.
I just jack up on the pinch welds. I clearly just didn't on that day.
It's really quick if you've got one for racing, because that allows you to get the whole side of the car up with one jack, and you can get
I've also never heard this one. I've owned 4 Miatas. I always just jacked it off the pinch welds or the subframe, and it always worked great. Well, this is one of the things, like the NSX, I'm staring at it right now, and it makes me think of this, is that it has the best jack points in the world, including it has a middle jack point that you jack so you can get the whole side of the car up. Exactly. A middle on each side, like under the door, is a specific jack point that's there. So you jack the side of the car up, put the stands under the front and rear, and there you go.
Nice.
Awesome. So on the C6 Corvette, I just got jack pads. So the jacking points are like a slot in the unibody near the pinch welds that the standard trunk jack will slot into the slots. But that is kind of precarious. And if you're doing anything other than like the Widowmaker, like eek, 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 little jack, you don't really have a good spot on the fiberglass tube frame, et cetera, et cetera. So industrious people will use eye bolts and hockey pucks, but I actually bought nice like aluminum discs that slot into the hole, turn 90 degrees and lock in, and you can leave them there forever.
Nice.
I feel like we've gotten off the track. We should talk more about the broomstick test, because
yes.
Do you want to cover it, Mental?
The idea is that you slide a broomstick between the top of the windshield and the main hoop of the bar, and it shouldn't touch the driver's helmet. And the idea behind that is quite simple. If the car ends up on its roof, you don't want to crush somebody's neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a bit misleading. And I learned this lesson the hard way, because we built our Miata. And if I'm going to do the screen sharing real quick, or if I can,
screen share. Wait, I can do that for you.
It's disabled.
Sorry. Give me 1 second. Allow advanced sharing options.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
There you go. Okay.
So this is our OK Speed Miata that we had a number of years ago. This is before it died. Did it in the Iron Eagle. I believe this was 2014. And if you look at the top of the roll bar, you can see where we just added a taller hoop to clear that was a Miata, a very actually well-designed, expensive Miata cage kit, but we didn't drop the seat, and we put our tallest driver in the car, and he totally fit, but he was not as much torso as everyone else. So that's how he fit. And this is actually another really good version or there, because you can see where we painted it in order to get it to clear over my friend who was shorter than me, but he was taller in the seat. So that's one of the
butthole to crown of head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you're doing this to clear the broomstick test, don't just put your tallest driver in. They could be all legs, and then you're still kind of SOL. So you want to make sure you get all your drivers in there. But if you don't need to ever put a convertible top up, one of the easiest, simplest solutions is just to buy a taller roll bar. But not an option because you don't have inside storage for it, and it's got to have the top on it in the winter.
And my father's still going to keep it in the yard and still going to take it for ice cream, even though it will no longer have any carpets, and he'll sit his fat butt in the Kirky. Or maybe I'll go ahead and put the other seat in and put it on sliders. And
the interesting part of this is I also bought this car out of a yard for $300. It was an impound yard, and when I picked it up, it still had the half-drank bottle of booze in there, which I'm certain got him pulled over in the first place.
Nice.
Did you drink it? Was it still good?
No, it was a Bacardi Breezer, and it had been there through the summer of an
No.
Oklahoma summer. So no.
No, don't do
that
that.
sounds
I
terrible.
should mention that I also updated the clutch hydraulics in this car while I was there. I also have replaced, and maybe this is when what did you say about legality of a car, Mental? Like sometimes that makes it no longer a.
Depending on where you live, there are things you can do to a car where they say you can't drive. You're not allowed to drive this on the street anymore.
So I should mention that when you untrapezoid the Miata, if it has a stockish size catalytic converter, the untrapezoid 90-degree spot is going to get really, really close to your catalytic converter. Really close. Really, really, really close. So I'm not
Okay.
sure my Miata is legal anymore because I no longer have the cat in my car.
I'm surprised it made it that far.
I'm surprised too. I actually had several exhaust leaks, so I was only fixing the exhaust leak and making sure I didn't overheat the transmission tunnel.
Yes.
Yes.
Because, you know, a 1.6 liter Miata is really good. It's just suffering with a catalytic. No, it's not.
No.
Modern-
it's
this
not
is-
what's holding it back.
It's not holding it back. Modern day
No.
catalytic converters are not a problem in your exhaust. You should leave them if you can.
They're built to work for them. But at this point, really, you know, you paid $200 for the car.
Oh, I've gotten so much more than $200 of enjoyment out of this car.
Not just you. Your dad's gotten more than $200.
Absolutely.
Your
He
nephew's
loves it.
gotten more than $200 out of it. Yeah.
He loves it too. So there is nothing that will make you smile like a Miata.
True.
Yeah, I agree. I do.
Dollar
I
for
do agree.
dollar, there is nothing out there that'll make you smile. I remember a couple summers ago, I was driving it back and forth to work, probably making sure it was shaken down for the track day. And I went through a set of twisties with a Cayman and, you know, not even like fast. He probably didn't even know I was racing him, but you know, he was moving quickly and I was at like 9/10 on the street. And I just looked at him and I said, he may have a lot nicer car, but he ain't having as much fun as I am. And I really think that's the moral of the story. If you're willing to be abused and have low standards, you can have so much fun in a ratty track car on the street.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Chris, I know you're wrenching. Do you want to say anything about the transition to track car on the Mazda 3?
We're going to find out shortly. Right now, all it's going to have is an alignment, and that's about it. So I think once you strip the interior and do away with those kind of things, you're there. Especially once you start doing things like cutting doors.
Yeah.
You're done.
And when you go to strip that interior, because the way that interior is mounted in there, spend some time with your cutoff wheel and get all of those little metal kind of welded on screws, because they're just narrow enough to seriously cut you when you're getting in and out of that car.
That
Just
sounds
pretty-
like work.
We're usually,
and when
things
you're
like that.
bleeding profusely because you didn't do it, it'll be work you wish you'd put in.
I'll just leave the door cards in.
No, I'm talking
just-
about I'm talking the interior in the passenger compartment, the center console, the carpet mount, all
Oh,
that kind of stuff. They're the little
the little tabs that the screws go into. Yeah, I get you.
No. These are bolts that are welded onto the frame that stick out for the plastic tabs to screw down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Spend about an hour with your grinder and just get rid of all of them.
We'll see.
We have a drastically different theory in creating this car. I said I could waste 10 minutes trying to pull that off, or I could just razor blade the carpet out and done.
And I'm down with all that. But again, the first time it digs into some of your soft fleshy bits.
No, because
when
the
you're
center
jumping into it for the
console is
Dairy
still
Queen.
there. That's the whole
Okay.
idea. I didn't even have to take out the center console
Okay.
if I just cut the carpet out around it.
Okay. You're covered then.
Because, you know, you still need a place to put your insurance card because it's still going to be driven on the street.
Hamza just taped that
Sure.
plastic document protector to the roof of the flat Earth BMW.
No roof. Miata.
Yeah, just tape it on the inside of the door in a plastic envelope.
I mean, we've done that. That's what happened in the S10. We
Yeah.
had that in the S10 for a while, and I'm sure we've done. Yes, we've done that.
Awesome.
Yep.
Does anyone else have anything to say about converting a track car? Metzel, do you want to talk about your ratty Porsche? You know, because where did that live in the giant Venn diagram of track car and street car?
It was deliberately kept as fun street car. I needed it to get to work, so I could not cross. It didn't stop me from scrolling through, and looking at Boxster cage kits that were surprisingly affordable, and a hard top and all that. But I knew that if I did that, I couldn't daily drive it anymore. And at the time, I had to have a way to get to work.
Nice. All right. I think we've covered this topic pretty well. I want to put one more last plug in. Chris is right. It is hotter than the surface of the sun out there.
Are you guys a little warm?
Yeah.
Were you really? Oh, okay.
It's like 101 and like 100% humidity.
It's 117, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
No humidity.
No humidity.
No
My
humidity.
hair is like
There
stands
is
like this
humidity
all-
in my pool, but yes, I see what you're saying.
See this shininess?
right.
I just took a shower.
Right. It doesn't matter if you take a shower.
Doesn't
You look
matter.
instantly. You. Look
I'm
just
in
like
air
you didn't.
conditioning. I'm still sweating.
Yes.
That doesn't surprise me.
I need a garage.
You have a
A
garage.
No, I don't. I have storage.
No, you have a garage that
Another
you are
place-
misusing for storage. See,
That's true.
here's the Venn diagram, Jeff. At what point does your garage cease being a garage and it starts being a closet with a really big door?
It just holds all of my tools and crap. So that's. I don't
Your
even keep.
basement.
I think it's the second part of what
I don't have
it's
a
holding
basement. I'm
that,
sitting in the
that
basement.
you
I
need
mean,
to
like,
get
you
rid
have
of.
half a basement.
It's the crap. Get rid of the crap.
No,
Have
it's
you
all
been-
tools.
Have you
There's no
met
crap in it.
You said
I'm
tools and
sure.
crap.
No crap.
Well, I mean,
Not at
like
all.
Miata seats and all
Yeah,
the other
what do you need them for?
parts.
What do you need?
Well,
the
I've just
Miata
put one in the Miata. They're my track seats.
I think you have Z motors.
I got
and
two
why
Z
do you need-
motors in
Why do you need
there.
Get
two
rid of
Z
them.
motors?
Why do you need Z motors?
No, I
Go
don't
on.
have. Actually, the Z motor lives outside. I have the LS.
The good
motors
one?
inside. So
Buy yourself
Okay.
one of those tough sheds. Put it in the corner of the yard.
He's been talking about that since he moved in this damn
No.
house.
I want garage.
Yes, and if you buy a tough shed and you pull all the crap out of your garage, you'll have. a
Actually, my garage is
garage.
pretty crap free. It's all.
No, it's
tools.
not. That's why our car doesn't fit there.
No, it's all
It's just
tools.
full of
No,
stuff.
no, there's no way. Chris and Chrissy have enough tools to build 2 race cars at the same time, and they still manage to get 2 race cars that are.
Oh
being
no, they
built
have
in their garage.
they have more than double my garage size.
Point
True.
being is they have all the
Yeah.
tools in that garage to build race
We're not
cars.
gonna- We're not going to win on this thing here. It's not going to happen.
Metzel's
So-
double stepped in my garage. He doesn't understand how skinny it is.
You've got too many tools in there. I don't understand.
do.
that.
Probably
many
could do a
tools.
little bit better about cleaning up, but I'm not going to get into this. We're not going to win.
Do we have a just a tip, a hella sweet, or an on the spot? No.
Come up with something quickly.
I gotta. No.
Actually, you know what? All right, I'm bringing up an oldie but a goodie.
Okay.
We just got linked up to a guy on Instagram called Imperial Beach Dad. If you are on Instagram, follow Imperial Beach Dad. He's got this really cool 60 or 69 Mustang coupe that he calls the Punisher Stang. Really California. He looks like a California surfer guy. He's got 2 kids, he's got a loving wife. He does kind of silly gearhead stuff. And he has been battling cancer, and they finally just pronounced the brain tumor inoperable. And he is used this as an excuse to just go full tilt. I love life, and I'm going to fix everything. He is rebuilding a school bus into a camper, one of those, the schoolie campers, and posted on his Instagram a picture of his severely bleeding leg next to a broken cutoff wheel because he took the guard off his pneumatic cutoff wheel. And as soon as he grabbed it, the entire wheel shattered and jammed into to his leg, and his wife actually had to come out there and wrap a full bandage around it for him to keep working on the school bus. So the guy with a scar in his neck says, keep the safety guards. And if you're not going to do that, at least be aware of where that disc is aimed at when you test it.
So we had this discussion in our Slack because
Yes.
we were shopping. Somebody was shopping for a new ankle grinder. Was it Bruce? I can't even remember.
Not an angle grinder. This is a pneumatic cutoff wheel.
I know, but
the little thin ones.
We had the conversation about angle grinders. Hamza, who is Meatbag Touches the Machine, go check that out, that episode. He is rebuilding Surf Spec Racer Fords into electric race cars, and this involves a lot of grinding and cutting because he's rebuilding the frame. And he had his like bench set up with like 12 different grinders, and we started talking about tools and, you know, who likes the DeWalt, who likes the Milwaukee, and who likes the this. And I showed a picture of my very loved Old Faithful Chicago Electric. I believe I paid $10 4.5-inch grinder, and immediately I was destroyed for not having the guard on it. And
Are you surprised?
no, I totally even admitted it. I said, first thing you do is you take the guard off. And many people in our community said, oh, no, never, ever, ever take the guard off of your 4.5-inch grinder. So this evening, while I was at the Harbor to Freights, I was looking at replacing Old Faithful with a new Old Faithful that is going to have a guard.
Oh,
I mean, I have 3
yes?
grinders. Let's be honest.
Oh, everyone who listens to this show has 3 grinders.
My favorite one is the one that doesn't have the guard.
Why?
I like where the switch position is. It's the
again, I don't know if this is coming through on the tube.
Oh, I could see it. Yeah.
From here
I mean,
to
we know
here,
it's there.
yeah, is what happens when one of those cutoff wheels comes apart and goes into your neck.
Yeah. So that's why I also have admitted to myself that I will probably get rid of Old Faithful, or at least buy one, steal the guard off of it, and return it, because, you know, a $20 grinder, $17 grinder is just way out of my butt. I'm joking. I won't do that. I was actually trying to decide what will be my next 3rd grinder, because I will get rid of the guardless one.
Excellent.
Oh, good. That's fantastic. Okay.
Does anyone have a show idea for next show?
Funny you should ask.
Yes, except you're a little wrong on the notes, but I'll go with it. Next week, we're going to talk probably about how we all did at track day. We're going to all be on the track day. We're going to have fishers with us. So we're going to see how everybody, you know, Chris is going to be helping with the fishers. Jim is in HPD1. A bunch of us are in HPD2. So we'll have the Mazda, we'll have the Miata, we'll have the Honda, we'll have a whole bunch of other fishers cars. We have plenty to talk about next week. So I think that's what we're going to do next week. And then the next week, because the next week is going to be the week after that is going to be our pre-race show, because in theory
What?
we should be
What race?
we should
They're
be going
gonna
to
let
a
us race. Oh my god!
Mentally, you're wrong.
COVID
I
is
know it.
gone.
No. I'm trying to figure out how. All right, so yeah. Okay.
we have
yeah,
to-
because it'll be
right?
like the August 1st or whatever.
We
yeah,
got 2 weeks till then. Because I
done.
was like, I'm going to the beach next week. So yes, so we will be talking next week about the week after we talk about track day. We'll talk about the race, pre-race. What are we going to be doing? We're going to be scrambling like we are now, packing for food, packing for stuff.
And I think that's the
hopefully
first time
cars
this
will be in.
show we've all been racing as a show since the last time we were at Thompson.
It could
Okay.
be.
I don't think the 4 of us have been on track at the same
Because
time.
you didn't go to New Hampshire,
I did not.
and Jersey was before Thompson,
I
which
think
is because we all were at Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey's were the
Wow.
Honda was chewing up axles, and I none of you guys made Barber this year.
correct.
Wow.
We're going to do some race talk. Finally.
Say the name of the
some
race, Chrissy. Say the name of the race.
Targaga, Manchaga, Chag, Bunga, Gugamak.
Do you want to try again? I think you missed some.
We spell that out because she's the only one who can do it.
There you go. Lake. You forgot the word lake. It's lake.
Let's
Let's go canoeing
Canoeing
on Lake Chargog.
Chug.
Bunga Munga.
So we're going deep into Sperry topsider country.
It's not actually.
Tea,
Like it's
raw
not.
tea and finger sandwiches.
It's
Tell
not.
Muffy to chirp me.
No.
Hold on a minute. Music's coming out of my phone instead of the speaker.
Oh, let's keep talking. That's not. That's the middle of Connecticut. It's very much not Topsbury.
Here's the anything past New
Topsider.
York to me, it's all preppy country.
I mean, it's not. It's Connecticut.
Well, and
But
we
it's
just
okay.
there are 2 weeks between now and the race. I believe there are 18 states that are not allowed to travel to Connecticut right now. So
We're open for now, but we'll see what
we're
happens.
not
Yeah,
100%
and
sure.
I am definitely in one of those states.
I think the email from Nick Pond said, "Keep herding your cats. It's on at the moment."
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
So thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers, and we'll hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because the Rona's going away at least enough that we can wear masks and go racing. But everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes, the Everyone Racers iTunes, not the Garage Heroes iTunes.
Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero, Garage
Guitar
Heroes.
Heroes. Screw those losers.
Don't do that either.
They still
Go-
owe me $20.
Go to the Everyone Racers iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hate us, give us 5 stars and tell us why it's annoying.
Try not to talk about balls.
Okay, sure. If you have any questions or we talked so much, we ran out of music. If you have any show ideas or questions, you can. Oh my gosh, it's playing the next song. This is embarrassing.
Uh-oh.
The Muppet Show theme.
Nice.
The wrecking ball.
Okay, we're good. No, we're good. Pretend it didn't happen. Drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram or the Twitter space at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up, unless you're a camouflage rattle can painted Miata, because then there ain't nothing shiny on that son bitch. Then just keep the wheels down.